2025 Kelly Benefits St. Patty's Day Shamrock 5K. This one is taking place in Baltimore, Maryland on Sunday, March 16th, 2025. Quick note, that is daylight savings time, so time will get adjusted on that day. Make sure you don't miss out on your start time. Heading over to our race details page, race information. Scroll down, it's a bunch of useful information starting with packet pickups. There is a load of different dates. Tuesday, the 11th, 4 to 7. That's going to be in Charm City. The address is there. Wednesday, March 12th, 4 to 7 p.m. Charm City, Annapolis. Thursday, the 13th, 3 to 7. Again, Charm City, and that is Fells Point. Friday, March 14th, 2 to 7 p.m. That is in the Columbia location. Saturday, 15th. 9 to 2 p.m. There is also a new address here, and that is at the Lutherville location. Make sure you double check that. Sunday, race day, March 16th, 10:30 to noon. Limited race day packet pickup, and they will end at noon sharp. So again, the parking situation is going to be a little hairy. It's going to take you a little bit of time to get to the race venue, so make sure you plan on arriving a little bit earlier than you want to. It's going to be a healthy turnout, at least it is in most years. So again, just plan to get this done ahead of time. If you do have the capability to hit some of the packet pickups ahead of time, that would be beneficial, of course. There is bib mailing options as well, so make sure you do that. Also, virtual race option. You get what you get for your entry. There's a whole bunch of stuff here that you can read and pause the video, or just go to the race website. The course info listed right here. We are going to dive into this in a couple of seconds here. It briefly describes it. I'll go to it really fast. This is our course little thing here, which we will reference in a minute. Awards, you can pause the video and read all of this over here, including the age brackets for awards. Traffic advisory, they are requesting that you do check out the Charm City website ahead of the race just to double check things, see the traffic advisory. It might change in between now and then, so make sure you are referencing that leading up to the race. I'm sure they're going to be emailing you a ton in between now and then. It's going to get more frequent as the race gets closer. Parking, again, it's going to be really, really tough to get a parking spot, so make sure you plan ahead and have a plan of attack. Also have a backup plan. But the first thing you should do is arrive a little bit earlier. I've already said that once, but arrive a little bit earlier than you want to. Transfer and deferral policies are listed all through here, as well as cancellations, and that is your course race info section here. And let's go to our course. Again, this is a little bit of a later start time, so some of the things that's going to come into mind or come to play are your pre-race fueling for this race. If you are one of the front runners or just want to set a really, really solid time, this is going to be a unique situation where you are going to have the capability to wake up, have a little bit of a breakfast, a little bit more so than you usually do for like a 6 or 7 a.m. start time. So you might have a little bit of an issue, you might need to delay that eating when you first wake up. But again, play around with this on some of your weekend runs. Start for a later start time and see what works best for you in terms of fueling. You might be able to get a little bit more in you and utilize some of those stores later on. Another thing that is going to impact you is the weather. So heading over to one of my favorite websites, these little streaks here are the wind, and this is just an example of a couple of days. This is our course right here in this area, and I'll just highlight it so everyone can see here. This is going to be our course location right in here. Very, very tight right on the harbor here, and you can definitely see that the arrows are going up this way. If I fast forward it a couple of different days, you could see here that it goes pretty much every single which way. So make sure you are planning to look at the wind in the days leading up to the race, because it's going to have a bigger impact than you think. If it is this scenario, we are starting up here, so that means on the way out you're going to be you're experiencing a tailwind. That's going to be very dangerous for this race because it's a downhill start, and then you'll turn around and you'll have to battle the wind all the way back in. If it is, and I'll try to find it here, of course I won't be able to find it here, but if it's kind of like this is one of the better scenarios here. There it is. This is probably perfect scenario. You are going to have to battle the wind on the way out here, but as you turn around, you will have a tailwind that will push you all around the harbor here. Very, very fun run. It's going to be packed with a lot of people here, lots of things to do. So this course is not going to be lacking on external stimuli out here. But the wind, make sure you plan accordingly. If the temperatures are high out there, that's going to be great. But even if you look at the race website here, you can see there's a whole bunch of different things. T-shirts, there's going to be double sweaters, there's going to be just tights, and everything kind of in between. Hats, no hats, and it's just really, really dependent on the weather. So keep an eye out for that in the days and the weeks leading up to it. This is our race course mapped out a little bit more strategically. We have about 47 feet of elevation gain. Something that you should definitely notice is that negative drop, about 120 feet of elevation loss over this course. So you have a little bit of a net drop here, a net decline out here. So the course should be a little faster. Starting off in this first little section here, this first half a mile, you are dropping from the start to right around the harbor here, and I'll just go away. Let me get off of this clicky tool. Here we go. As you approach this half-mile marker, you are going to approach the water area, so you might experience a little bit of a temperature drop depending on what the wind is doing out there on race day. This downhill, very, very common for athletes to really fly on this downhill. You should be going fast, but it should be in control. Again, this is a 5K, so your effort is going to be high pretty much from start to finish. But you don't want it to be 120% if you are a runner that does train by speed. You know, you are usually going to be above around your threshold for a 5K, so it's not going to be uncommon for athletes to be really, really flying up here, but you need to monitor that effort. You also need to monitor your form in this first half a mile. It's going to be packed. It's going to be busy. There's going to be a lot of frustrated athletes if you do get boxed in a little bit, and that will create the next issue on course here. So this first issue is this first downhill. People just really overdo it, don't pay attention, and they set themselves up for failure because they have totally skyrocketed their pace and capabilities is probably the best word. If a runner during this section is unable to escape the riffraff of everything and waits till about where my cursor is right here, this section, believe it or not, is going to be very, very, you're going to have to be cautious in here. It is a 5K, so you did lose a little bit of time in that early section where you got boxed in, and that section that we just highlighted here is going to be a section where a lot of athletes really, really unload here. I would caution you to do that. Again, the pace is going to be high. This whole experience is not going to be the most enjoyable experience. 5K is pretty tough. So in this section, you have to kind of walk that line of hard or too hard, right? It's going to be in between there. If you couldn't get out of the blockade there, you are going to have to go a little bit harder, but don't totally just put everything out there during this section. You have to save some up because you do have to run back in here, and we're only a mile into the race, believe it or not. So as you get to about the mile marker here, you're starting to zigzag, work your way down to our turnaround point here. And this is probably one of the slower points out on course right through here. A lot of the fans are going to be sitting and hanging out right up and through here. So as you get further down, there's going to be some cheering sections. It's going to be great, but you're going to find that it gets a little bit more and more lonely as you get down there. Once you hit the turnaround point, the opposite is going to be true. So you're going to be running towards a wall of busyness, a wall of spectators and everything in between. So that will help you go in, right? But if you have just totally unloaded up until this, let's call it 1.6, 1.7 miles into our race here, the next mile and mile point 2, mile point 3 is going to be very, very challenging. So this area is very, very mental here, this turnaround and a little coming back from the turnaround. Very mental here. So make sure your mental game is tough because you're going to need it right through here. And as you get back into the crowds, allow the crowds to lift you up a little bit. But during this section, this is going to be a star impact area, a key area right here for you to really, really push through and get focused on right through here. Because I don't know about you, but every time I see like a huge crowd and they're cheering, even if it's not for me, I get back into the zone a little bit easier. Progressing around our harbor here, again, you are going to be approaching more and more people as you approach up here. Chances are, if the wind is going this direction out here, this is going to be one of the toughest spots weather-wise from like a chilled standpoint if it is cold. If the weather is blowing this way here, that's kind of, again, kind of the ideal scenario. You're kind of hidden from the wind during this section. And then when you do get exposed in some of these areas over here, you're getting pushed towards the finish line. But if it's here, that's kind of worst case scenario, especially if it is, say, like 20, 30, 40 degrees here. If you are not a cold weather runner here, so plan accordingly. It's also going to account for maybe some wind assist in here, but I kind of prefer this direction a little bit on this course. And that is our that's kind of our race breakdown. Once you get into the harbor during this section right here, you'll be able to see what you are going to be doing up here. And that can be a good and a bad thing. I would caution you against, say you get to this area right here, I would caution you against looking way over here and say, all right, I got to get way over there. I would actually ignore that. Sure, you can look at it, but I would really focus on doing, okay, I got to make it to this area. So all you got to do is get from there to here. And then once you get closer to here, get a new goal. Look for a spot right up through here. And then, all right, I have to get to that place right there. And then once you get around to this bend up here, I just got to get to this corner right here, right before the finish line, and then to the finish, right? If you have last minute juice, I would use the corners as places to increase right here. So you build up from this spot to this spot, 3, and then you're going right here. So 2 and 3, you're kind of going full gas, and 4, you're kind of seeing what is left in the tank around the little harbor here. That's our course breakdown for the 5K, the Kelly Benefits 5K in Baltimore, Maryland this year, 2025. This is the 2024 course, but it's the exact same one as last year. Good luck to all of our athletes. If you need any course tips or tricks individual to you, please reach out to me, and I'll be happy to talk you through it and help you out. Good luck to everyone racing this year.